important points I'd actually like to make is that I'm not preaching vegetarianism or veganism, although it's a great choice if you do decide to make it, and it's great if you cut down on meat. But you don't have to abandon animal products to make an impact. If you want animals raised for consumption to be treated humanely and with respect, we need to make the choices that will ensure this. But not only this, but also an overall healthy food industry. And we make this by buying local grass-fed, pasture-raised meat and poultry. Also, to sum up how everything is inextricably connected to our food industry: hunger, animal welfare, pollution, and public health. I have one more video to show you, in which the speaker Jonathan Safran Foer, author of Eating Animals, sums up almost everything I've talked about and more very, very well.
Foreign TV. The world is thinking.
Some people say we should care about feeding the hungry first. I would say we should care about feeding the hungry at the same time. This is not a zero-sum game. We are not taking food out of the mouths of hungry children in order to get animals out of cages. I mean, that equation doesn't make sense. Caring is a muscle. You know, the more we use it, the stronger it gets, the better we get at caring. I suspect it's true, although I can never prove it. I suspect it's true that people who are thoughtful about food are also thoughtful about other political issues in ways that people who aren't thoughtful about food might not be. You know, we should not be trying to exclude things from our field of moral concern. We should be trying to include things. And the interesting thing about this topic, unlike world hunger, and by the way, nothing would be better for world hunger than if we stopped eating meat. It takes between 6 and 26 calories of food to make 1 calorie of meat. We are now feeding, as a rule, our farmed animals foods that humans eat: corn and soy. People make fun of vegetarians for eating soy. Nobody eats soy like meat eaters eat soy. 98% of the world's soy crop goes to livestock now. These are foods that people can eat. Traditionally, cows ate grass. Humans can't eat grass. So we've perverted the whole system to make it not only unsustainable, but aggressively unsustainable. So, what I was going to say is, this is an issue that doesn't require us to go to war with another country. It doesn't require us to spend billions or trillions of dollars. It doesn't require us to elect a new government. We don't have to find religion if we don't have religion. We don't need to find a new set of values. All we have to do is just stop and think. You know, at the supermarket, at the restaurant, we don't have to become vegetarians. I think that word has done a real disservice to this conversation because it implies you are either going to do everything or nothing. You're somebody who cares, or you're someone who doesn't care. When in fact, most people can easily imagine themselves in that massive spectrum in between the extremes of nothing and always. If Americans, Andrew alluded to this before, remove just 1 serving of meat a week, and I just don't believe anybody who says that's impossible. If we removed 1 serving of meat a week, it would be like taking 5 million cars off the road. This is profound. You know, the effects of our daily choices here really, 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 really matter. And the solution is going to have some kind of legislative aspect, but it's really going to happen when people choose to eat differently. Farmers I met said, I don't farm what I want to farm, I farm what I'm asked to farm. When people demand a 49-cent burger, we're going to have an animal agriculture system that reflects that demand. When people demand other things, as they are starting to, the fastest growing sector in the whole food industry right now is cage-free and free-range eggs. When I say the fastest growing sector, I don't mean on the West Coast or the East Coast. I mean in the entire United States of America. This is a food that isn't better for us, it doesn't taste better. The only reason people are spending more of their money is because it's wrong. It's just wrong to have 12 birds in a cage for their entire lives, or each one has this amount of space. No one needs to tell us that's wrong. We don't need to speak to a veterinarian to explain to us why that's wrong, or a philosopher. The stuff our parents taught us will do just fine in terms of knowing why that's wrong. And there's a very broad consensus right now in our country that it is wrong. And I think as we start acting on these values that we've always had, the system will slowly be dismantled. I mean, the system only came into being 50 years ago. We're not talking about the way things have always been done. And so it suggests that it could be taken apart at least as quickly.
You mentioned this, and it's an important point I'd really like to make, is that corporate America, agribusiness specifically in this case, is purely interested in profit. And the only way they'll make a profit is by catering to exactly what their consumers want. We can't leave this task of averting this crisis up to companies or the government. After all, it took the government nearly a century to pass a new food safety law. It may feel like you were just one person, but if we were all to think that way, we'd never get anything done. And we all wish to change the world in hopes of making it a better place, and here's your chance. At least 3 times a day, you can be the change you wish to see in the world. We have to take up the responsibility of making environmentally and socially responsible choices into our own hands, and we must do so now or face a devastating crisis.